instead of $16 an hour, that is not going backward. That is permanent, it's sticky, it's not going backward. So I think labor inflation, for a variety of reasons, is going to be stickier. I think there's some demographic issues in that. We've taken, I think, 3 million people out of the workforce who are above 55 because, given the pandemic, they kind of decided, you know what, I'm going to retire, I'm going to work in a different way. That has a real impact on, on wage pressure as we go forward. The supply chain stuff is really harder to tell. Some of it is really because of the on-off and getting things started, but I think we need to watch this quickly. I think where we go from a monetary and fiscal policy perspective will have an impact. And also, we haven't had inflation for so long. I mean, I grew up in the 1970s. Now, I wasn't a huge financial student in the 1970s, but I was in high school in the 1970s. And, I'll tell you, it's very hard for people, to put themselves back in that mode because we've been in a different mode for a long time. But people forget, Goldman raised interest rates 10 basis points on a Sunday night. It's unclear, and I think it's very important that we're thoughtful about it, but the Fed is very focused on this. And I think they have the tools to manage it appropriately, but we'll have to watch where we go from here.
How much of you were in Washington, so we have to ask this question, we're quickly running out of time, but how much of you, I imagine a lot of your time is spent thinking about government, thinking about public policy. This initiative is clearly devoted a lot to public policy. Could you talk a little bit about dealing with this administration and how much time you spend doing it, how you feel about it?
Well, my principal job is to run Goldman Sachs. Right now, I spend a lot of time on the strategy of Goldman Sachs, the people of Goldman Sachs, and the plans of Goldman Sachs. And then, of course, in that context, we're always thinking about our responsibility to support the communities that we operate in. Of course, policy matters. And so, especially, we tend to comment and be very focused on policy where we really have an area of expertise. So economic policy, obviously is the most obvious. Personally, I'm interested in, policy. I think policy matters in terms of the economic outcome for all of us, as a society, and not just the economic outcome, but the quality of life, the fabric of our society, all that's rooted in policy. So, we watch with interest. Our focus, obviously, are on the things where we think, based on what we do and the role we play, we can have an impact. But I'm engaged. I think we have a responsibility to be engaged down here, and so I'm down here today, and I'll spend some time engaging. Our intellectual capital, our actual capital, to help advance this.
One of the things that Senator Warner talked about, which is really interesting, and you guys have a data point on this as well, is minority access to capital and how COVID basically, in some respects, wiped out a generation of minority wealth. And you guys, in your survey, said that black-owned businesses that are low credit risk are half as likely as white-owned firms to receive money they request. So, talk about what the private sector should do, but also, what Senator Warner and what Congress should be doing to ease some of that, to make it easier.
Absolutely. This is a real issue. It's a complex issue. We've been very focused, and this is something we've learned over the last decade, on the benefit that CDFIs and mission-driven lenders have and really succeeding to get capital into small businesses. So the first thing we have to do is we have to strengthen those platforms. And that strengthening can come candidly from legislators, providing more resources into CDFIs. It can come from private sector sources like Goldman Sachs, providing more resources into CDFIs. One of the things we did during COVID, early in COVID, we did a $25 million grant into CDFIs to help them advance technology and platforms that they have so they can be more effective in doing the things that they need to do. They need help, with the resources and how to connect. But we also saw during the crisis that the feedback on CDFIs and their ability to actually deploy PPP capital, once we got that set up, as Senator Warner said, it was hard. We really said we've got to find a better way. Once we did better in the second and third round, the feedback on how CDFIs were doing to deploy that capital was improved. But we've got to get more resources in CDFIs. And I think we also have to understand that small businesses need risk capital. Risk capital is complicated. Risk capital is not lending capital. Risk capital is risk capital. We've got to give people the tools that can be successful with SBA loans. I think one of the things that's really surprising to me looking at data I looked at recently is almost half small business owners don't believe they would qualify today for an SBA loan, given the impact of COVID on the business. Whether it's right or wrong, the fact that they lack that confidence has an impact on what they do. So there's a lot of work to do in this area. I think I think from a policy perspective we can do more. I think candidly the private sector can do more. One of the things I'm encouraged by is I see a lot of private sector actors trying to find ways to support this because it's irrefutable that small businesses play an enormous role in our economic vitality.
Could I follow up on that for 1 second? So Senator Warner said he's been hearing a lot about another COVID package, in which for him this would clearly be a priority. And how do you view that kind of climate given access to capital, small businesses, and COVID?
Well, I think we have to watch what's happening. I'm disappointed that we've not been as successful as I think we should be at this point in time with vaccine distribution broadly across the country. And that's why we're in the position where we have the issues that we have right now with Delta variant. And there is a risk. It hasn't been that significant yet, the additional economic impact of different policies to make sure people are safe, different, affecting, economic activity. Yet, but there's a risk it's going to. And if it did, then we absolutely, might need to do more to deal with that. So we should watch that very closely. But the biggest thing we can do right now is to do everything we can to encourage people to get vaccinated. One of the things that's so interesting to me, we have lots of tough problems here in Washington that need to be wrestled with. I think about, for example, the relationship between the United States and China, how complex those issues are. Here we have something where the solution is clear and easy. Get vaccinated. We have the resources. Get vaccinated. It's safe and it helps us move forward economically as a society. So we have to continue to make progress.
Senator Tatlow.